I apologize in advance that I lost my voice, so I might sound a little weird, but Alienware just released their Steam machine, and they offered to send one out, and I know that I veered away from PC stuff on this channel, but Steam machines have been talked about for years now, so I was really excited to be able to check this out. So here it is, this is the Alienware Steam machine. It's this small box that doesn't have too much going on. It's not too flashy, it does sport some sharp angles and glossy plastic which hint towards a gamer-esque appearance, but that's not really a bad thing considering it's a gaming system. If you're familiar with the Alienware Alpha, it's actually the same exact system, but instead of running Windows 10, it runs Steamos, and instead of coming with a keyboard and mouse, it comes with the Steam controller. Speaking of the Steam controller, I could do a whole video just on this controller. Alienware doesn't make the controller, Valve makes it, and Alienware just includes it with the Steam machine. And you may be thinking, how do you play games with it? Well, you can only play certain games. Platformers and games that don't require twitch movements actually kind of benefit from the dual touchpad layout. But if you try to play a first-person shooter, it just won't work out. The movement to look around just isn't quick enough or accurate enough to be feasible. This isn't the end of the world though. You can easily plug in a different controller like an Xbox 360 controller if you're going to play a first-person shooter, or if you wanted to, you could plug in a keyboard and mouse, but that wouldn't make too much sense considering this is meant to take the gaming PC from the desk to the living room, so a controller makes more sense. That's all I'm going to talk about in regards to the controller itself. Now I want to talk about the Alienware Steam machine. On top, you just have an angled design thing. I don't really know how to describe it. On the front, you have the Alienware logo-shaped power button and two USB ports. The left and right sides are glossy plastic, and the left side has an angled cut with a Steam logo that glows when the system is on. On the back, you have two sets of ventilation, and below that is your power port, HDMI in, HDMI out, optical audio, Ethernet, and two more USB ports. And lastly, on the bottom, you have a lot of ventilation. Now I want to talk about specs, but before I do mention these specs, I do want to mention that it is user upgradable. You can take off the casing or the housing of the Steam machine and upgrade the parts on your own, except for the GPU. The GPU is soldered into the motherboard, so you can't replace that, but things like the CPU you can replace. The cheapest model goes for $450 and features an Intel 4th Gen dual-core i3, an NVIDIA GeForce GPU based on the 860M, 4 gigs of RAM, and a 500GB hard drive. For $550, you get the model that I have with the same i3 CPU, but 8 gigs of RAM and a terabyte hard drive. For $650, you get upgraded to a quad-core i5, and for $750, you get upgraded to a quad-core i7. With all that out of the way, we arrive at the sole purpose of this system, gaming. First things first, Alienware does include $200 worth of games, including Payday 2. As a matter of fact, they actually gave me a code to share with you guys, so go ahead and follow me on Twitter at MSTechYT, and I'll post the code in a couple of days, link in the description. And here lies the first problem with this system. If you choose this over the Alienware Alpha, you're getting Steamos, and not all games are supported on Steamos. Out of my library, only a few games were actually supported on Steamos natively. You can plug it into Ethernet and stream games from a Windows PC, but at that point it defeats the purpose of having a dedicated Steam machine in the first place. Yes, compatibility will grow in the future, but the game that I found worked best with the controller at least is Castle Crashers, and you couldn't even play that natively on this. You had to stream it from the PC, and that's why I was playing on my computer screen earlier and not on the TV, and that just doesn't make that much sense because Castle Crashers especially is not a very graphically demanding game, so it could easily run on this system. So if they really improve that compatibility, that will improve the system as an overall a lot. I think the Steam machine is a good product and a good proof of concept, but it missed its mark. I can't recommend it over the Alienware Alpha because with the Alienware Alpha, you get the same hardware for a little bit less money, and it's running full Windows 10, so you don't run into any compatibility issues. All in all, the Alienware Steam machine is a step in the right direction, but it's not really the console killer. It's got too many compatibility issues, and I can't recommend it over the Alienware Alpha. So maybe in the future, if they improve compatibility and maybe just differentiate it from the Alpha a little bit, it could be an even better product that I can recommend to all of you guys. Thank you for watching, subscribe to see more content, and as always, stay classy.